Have you ever felt fired up one moment and completely drained the next? It's almost like motivation has an expiration date, because it does. Jim Rohn said, "Motivation is like a bath, you need it daily." If you've ever wondered why you start strong but struggle to stay consistent, this message is for you. Today we're diving into how to stay motivated for the long run, not just the first few days. And trust me, the last lesson may be the one thing you've been missing your entire life. So stay with me until the end. It might change everything. 1. Connecting motivation to meaning. Motivation without meaning wears off quickly. It behaves like a spark, bright for a moment, impressive in its first flash, but unable to sustain warmth or light unless it catches onto something deeper and more substantial. Many people begin their goals with enthusiasm, but if the goal is rooted only in pressure from others, comparison on social media, or a temporary emotional high, it fades almost as fast as it appeared. Jim Rohn emphasized that motivation is not just about energy but about purpose. The why creates the how. This means that when your goals are anchored in something personally significant, your values, your vision of the future, your concept of who you want to become, motivation transforms from a fluctuating emotion into a reliable force. When you start with meaning, you build endurance. For example, someone who exercises only to fit into societal standards might quit when results slow down, but someone who exercises because they want to be healthy enough to play with their kids, live longer, or honor their body anchors their actions in something deeper. Meaning gives you a reason to return, even on difficult days. A meaningful goal speaks to your identity, not just your desires. It pulls you forward instead of requiring you to push constantly. And when challenges come, and they always do, your why acts like a lighthouse, guiding you through setbacks, distractions, and self-doubt. It reminds you that you are not pursuing something for temporary applause, but for long-term alignment with your true self. Meaning helps you endure boredom, frustration, repetition, and slow progress. It helps you move forward even when no one else is watching or cheering. It converts discipline from something painful into something purposeful. When you choose goals that reflect your values, growth, freedom, contribution, excellence, compassion, you build motivation that lasts because it is rooted in who you are. Motivation becomes less of an emotion and more of a commitment. Meaning also creates clarity. It makes it easy to say no to distractions because you know exactly what you're saying yes to. It makes decisions simpler because you know the direction you want to walk in. Over time, your purpose becomes the engine behind the how you work, how you persist, how you rise after each setback. So if you want long-term motivation, don't just ask what you want. Ask why you want it. Ask what it represents. Ask how it connects to your future identity. When your goals carry meaning, they become fuel, not pressure. They become something you chase willingly, not something you drag yourself through. And that is the kind of motivation that does not fade. It grows. 2. Keeping motivation visible. Out of sight, out of mind is not just a cliché. It is one of the quietest reasons people abandon their dreams. The things you cannot see regularly slip into the background of your life, drowned out by daily noise, distractions, and responsibilities. Motivation requires visibility because visibility creates awareness, and awareness creates intention. When you surround yourself with visual reminders of your goals, you keep them emotionally alive. Writing your goals is not just a formality, it externalizes your intention. Displaying them on mirrors, walls, notebooks, digital dashboards, or vision boards ensures that your mind revisits them repeatedly. Jim Rohn said, "Motivation is what gets you started, habit is what keeps you going, but visibility is what bridges the two." Seeing your goals daily keeps them active in your subconscious, influencing your decisions, habits, and identity. A written goal speaks back to you. It holds you accountable. It reminds you of who you are becoming. Tracking your progress makes improvement tangible and measurable. Without tracking, progress remains invisible, and invisible progress feels like failure, even when you're improving. Visual tracking reinforces momentum by showing you that your efforts matter. This is why athletes track their reps, entrepreneurs track their numbers, and creators track their output. When something is measured, it grows. When something is displayed, it matters. Surrounding yourself with cues, quotes, photos, calendars, progress charts, reminders, turns your environment into a silent coach. Every time you see a visual cue, it reactivates your intention, it reignites your commitment, it nudges you toward action. Most people rely on willpower alone, but willpower is inconsistent. Your environment, however, can be designed to support you every single day. When motivation is visible, it becomes part of your daily rhythm instead of something you have to search for. Over time, these reminders shape your mindset, your habits, and your self-belief. They make your goals real, present, and unavoidable. And in doing so, they keep your motivation alive, not as a burst of inspiration, but as a continuous flame. 3. Working in small wins. Big goals often feel intimidating because the distance between where you are and where you want to be can seem enormous. When the gap feels too large, it becomes easy to delay, overthink, or quit before you even begin. Jim Rohn taught that progress compounds, just like money. This means small, consistent steps generate exponential growth over time. Small wins are the building blocks of large achievements. They create momentum, and momentum is the most powerful force in productivity. When you break your goals into smaller tasks, you transform overwhelming ambition into manageable action. Completing a small win creates a psychological reward, a sense of accomplishment that fuels your next action. This is why checking off tasks feels good. Your brain responds to progress. Consistent small wins build confidence and reshape your identity. Every time you achieve a small win, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, disciplined, and improving. Belief grows from evidence, and small wins create daily evidence of your ability. They also reduce fear. Big goals create pressure because they feel heavy and final, but small wins feel approachable and achievable. Over time, these small wins accumulate and create major progress. Think of learning a skill. You do not become excellent overnight. You improve through repetitions, small improvements, and tiny breakthroughs that eventually compound into mastery. Celebrating small wins keeps your emotional energy high. It prevents burnout. It builds enthusiasm. It trains your mind to enjoy the process rather than only focusing on the outcome. Consistency beats intensity because it is sustainable. Intensity is temporary. Consistency is transformative. Small wins make consistency possible. When you focus on winning the day, completing one meaningful task, one habit, one action, you create a chain of victories. Each link strengthens the next. Eventually, your small wins turn into big results. Not because you made one giant leap, but because you made thousands of small steps. This approach removes the pressure to be perfect and replaces it with the commitment to progress. And that is how unstoppable drive is built, not through occasional heroic effort, but through steady, deliberate, meaningful progress, one small win at a time. 4. Feeding the mind daily. Feeding the mind daily is one of the most underrated disciplines in a person's life, yet it stands at the center of transformation, consistency, and long-term self-mastery. Your mind is not a closed container that stays the same. It is a living system, constantly absorbing, interpreting, and filtering information. Just like your body deteriorates when starved of proper nutrients, your mental world weakens when left unattended. Every day you are exposed to noise, social media, gossip, superficial entertainment, fear-based news cycles, opinions from others who themselves may not be growing. If you passively allow this noise to dominate your internal environment, your motivation will naturally decay over time because the mind becomes cluttered, distracted, and unfocused. Feeding the mind is the deliberate opposite of that decay. It is the conscious choice to surround yourself with ideas, voices, and wisdom that create expansion rather than contraction. Books, for example, are mental food of the highest quality. They compress decades of someone else's learning into a few hours of reading. A single chapter from a powerful book can spark new insight, shift a limiting belief, or remind you of a truth you once knew but forgot beneath life's noise. Audiobooks and podcasts offer similar nourishment, especially during idle time, commutes, chores, walks. Mentors, whether real or virtual, act as mental architects who challenge your assumptions and force growth. And meaningful conversations, those rare moments when you speak with someone who is also striving, learning, and improving, can elevate your thinking more than 100 shallow interactions. Your thinking determines your actions, but your inputs determine your thinking. This is why people who consistently feed their minds tend to stay sharp, enthusiastic, and purposeful. They have a reservoir of insight to draw from when life becomes confusing or difficult. There is also a psychological truth. Motivation fades when the mind lacks direction. Feeding your mind daily ensures that new ideas, strategies, and perspectives are constantly refreshing your internal compass. It prevents stagnation. It keeps your imagination alive. It builds resilience by exposing you to stories of others who overcame adversity. And it keeps your ambitions burning because you're always reminded of what's possible. Ultimately, this daily feeding is not just about learning facts. It is about shaping identity. Every idea you absorb becomes a small building block in your character. Every uplifting message reinforces the belief that you can grow, change, and move closer to your best self. Feed your mind intentionally, and your actions will naturally elevate. Feed it passively, and your life will drift in the direction of noise, distraction, and mediocrity. Motivation is not magic. It is the natural byproduct of a mind that is nourished daily, consistently, and deliberately. 5. Resting without quitting. Resting without quitting is a principle that separates sustainable growth from self-destructive ambition. In a world that glorifies constant hustle, people often confuse exhaustion with dedication. But burnout is not a badge of honor. It is a warning sign that your internal resources are running dangerously low. Jim Rohn's reminder that rest is not quitting is profound because it reframes rest as a strategic part of success rather than an interruption of it. Rest is not weakness, it is maintenance. It is an intentional pause that allows your mind, emotions, and body to reset. When you push endlessly without rhythm, your motivation becomes brittle, your creativity dries up, and your enthusiasm fades. You begin to resent the very goals you once pursued with excitement. Rest prevents that spiral. It gives you space to breathe, think, and reconnect with your why. Every high-performing athlete understands this principle deeply. Muscle grows during rest, not during exertion. Minds work the same way. When you allow yourself to step back, clarity improves, ideas reorganize, solutions emerge that you couldn't see while exhausted. Yet many people fear rest because they think pause means regression. They worry that slowing down will make them lose momentum or fall behind. The truth is the opposite. Those who never rest end up quitting altogether. Those who rest strategically stay in the game for the long run. Motivation is a long-distance journey, not a sprint. It requires cycles: push, pause, reflect, push again. Without the pause, the push becomes unsustainable. Rest is also a form of self-respect, a recognition that you are a human being with limits, not an engine that can run indefinitely. It allows you to recalibrate emotionally too. Stress, disappointment, and frustration accumulate in the background of our minds like clutter. Resting gives space for emotional processing, for letting go, for grounding yourself again. There is also a spiritual layer to rest. It reopens your connection to meaning. When you are exhausted, even your purpose feels distant. When you are recharged, your vision becomes vivid again. Rest reminds you why you started. It reminds you that the journey is worth continuing, and importantly, resting teaches you patience. Growth does not always happen through action. Sometimes it happens in stillness, reflection, and recovery. Quitting, on the other hand, comes from depletion, mental, emotional, or physical. People rarely quit because a goal is impossible. They quit because they are empty. They quit because they pushed without pause. Learning to rest is learning to preserve yourself. It is learning to maintain your passion. It is learning to keep your internal flame alive instead of burning it out. Rest with intention, not guilt. Pause with purpose, not fear. And when you return, refreshed, clear, and renewed, you will find that your motivation has not weakened but strengthened. Rest is not leaving the path. It is preparing yourself to walk it with power, endurance, and resilience. Motivation isn't a spark, it's a practice. When you renew it, connect it to meaning, track it, feed your mind, and take rest when needed, you become unstoppable. Your progress becomes inevitable. Your dreams move from imagination to reality. Stay motivated, stay intentional, and keep moving forward.